Welcome to the latest edition of the BRSN Insider. Josh Pound now joined by head men's basketball coach Ryan Moody. And Coach, it's been a little bit of a rough start to this season, but some positive signs of improvement in the last outing against Park. Just take us back through that last game, went back and forth down to the wire.
Sure, yeah. We started out 1-4, and rough is a good word for it. I mean, it's a learning start, really, to be honest with you. I mean, we've got so many new guys with different roles than they had last year, expanded roles, guys playing tons of minutes that really have never played tons of minutes for us. So I think there's just that growth factor in us getting used to playing with each other, gaining an identity on offense. Offense has been our biggest struggle. We've had slow starts, haven't shot it well, and I think that's a comfort level, finding trust in each other, finding confidence in their shot, finding the right spots and where to get to for their shot. So Park, I mean, I think, the offense wasn't great, but we really guarded well and hung in that game and made some buckets when we really needed to. And I think Park makes it ugly. They do a really good job of what they do, which is trap you and press you and do all kinds of crazy stuff during the game to take you out of sync and to create chaos, essentially. And I thought for the most part we handled it pretty good, but both teams were really sloppy. You could tell both teams were a little tired this early in the year, almost 50 turnovers total between the two teams, so it wasn't a pretty game. But we're going to take little wins. I mean, I thought we rebounded really well against Park, who is a really great offensive rebounding team, and I thought we handled their pressure okay. So I mean, we're making steps, and we've had such a challenging schedule, Josh. I mean, our 5 games we've played, the opponent's record in those 5 games is 20-1, and Hastings the one that we won. Right. If that makes sense, So we've challenged ourselves early, and I think our guys have maintained positivity, and they understand it's a process of getting better, and so this is just the beginning.
And you knew some of those games when you put them on the schedule. John Brown was a national tournament qualifier last year. Park was almost a national tournament qualifier, was in the mix late. Morningside is a power in the Division II ranks. When it actually, now that you've played it, were you a little surprised looking back that the schedule ended up being as tough as it has been?
I mean, we've always kind of scheduled up. I mean, I just don't really believe in playing opponents that you buy to come in and that are maybe not of a great quality. And, we wanted, the GPAC's known as a great conference. I mean, we're all going to be in one division next year anyways, and so, I mean, I think that getting out and playing other people is important. And for recruiting, we recruit the state of Nebraska, so going up into that tournament was a good move for us. But just playing up, I consider the Heart, if it's not the toughest, it's one of the toughest in the country as far as conferences. And, to get yourself ready to play that, you have to play against different styles. You have to play against physicality. You have to play against big bodies and talent. And the 5 games we've played to present have given us those things. And so, we're going to roll into William Penn on Saturday and be ready for that game as far as we won't be shocked with the level of play on that floor. And it has been a rough start, and we've had to learn through adversity. Where it was a little bit different towards the end of the year last year. We were learning through success. And so, I think this is a solid, high-character group, and they're going to be okay. We just got to keep grinding. Just got to keep getting better. It's a long season.
Well, as you alluded to, the schedule doesn't get any lighter for you as you open up a tough road game in the conference season at William Penn, number 4 in the preseason poll. What do you expect to see? They're obviously a roster that does turn over quite frequently every couple of years, so it might be kind of hard to kind of gauge what they've got so far.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of new guys. They've got a couple returners, but most of their guys are new. They're averaging 112 a game. They struggle to get games, I think, and they've played some competition that's probably not up to par, and so they've scored a lot against those teams. So I think they're going to play fast. They don't really care who gets the shot. They're going to take early and quick shots. We've got to learn. We got to get the game at our pace. We got to really, really settle in on defense. And I think what we've learned over the course of the last week and a half or so is that our defense has to be where we plant our flag, where we hang our hat, whatever cliche you want to say. And I think we're going to have to be really tuned in to being great defensively, controlling the tempo of that game, and then hoping to find a great rhythm on offense to stay in that game, because they're going to have a lot of firepower.
Well, then you come back after that. You're going to get a home game next Wednesday against Baker University. It'll be season ticket holder appreciation night. How big is it to play a rival in like Baker in your conference opener? Hopefully, maybe that'll bring in a little bit bigger crowd for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the rivalry with Baker is great. Just any league games this time of year, and we get it. The Midwest. I mean, we have a football mentality right now. Until football season's over with the Chiefs and everybody else, but our fans have been great. I mean, even even taking some lumps here early, we've had great crowds, and I'm super thankful for that, and the people that come out, both students and the people from Ashton. And I think that next week, Wednesday, when we do have that Hart Conference opener, the stands are going to be full. Our girls are playing well. It's nice to have double headers, even though sometimes, it drags on a little bit, but having those 2 games in a row kind of gets the crowd going. And we're looking forward to finishing, or at least beginning, Hart play well, and then building on what we've got. Because we really like our group. We're talented. We're tough. We're just young. And we're gaining experience right now, like I said, through adversity. But I think this group, in the end, if we keep getting better day by day, we've got a chance.
Next up for Coach Moody and his Ravens, an afternoon contest on Saturday against number 4 William Penn, and they'll return home in just over a week, or just under a week, as they take on Baker University, 7:30, right back here on Dugan Jones Court.
A wise man once said, "The world offers you comfort, but you were not made for comfort. You were made for greatness." Discover what you were made for. Benedictine College, where greatness begins.
Welcome back as we continue the latest edition of the BRSN Insider. Josh Pound, now joined by Marcus Cobbs, wrestling coach here on campus. And Coach, we haven't had a chance to talk yet about the start of the season, but before we get into the actual competition, let's take a look. You got a number of top guys that you had on last year's squad back for this season, but you also have a lot of new faces. Just take us through, maybe introduce us to some of the returning guys and then some of the new guys you brought on campus this year.
Okay, so 2 of my top returners are, I'll just give you those 2 guys, but definitely Keenan Graff, who's a national qualifier for the 2017-2018 season. He's back at 149, which he's been there for the last two seasons prior to this. And then we also have Tyson Albright at 184. Real hard worker. He placed top 6 in the conference last year. Really got some good looks at some top-notch competition, and I think he's going to be able to fit right in there once the season starts to get really going and start knocking some of these names down. Top newcomers, I definitely like to, highlight David Boucher, who's out of Oklahoma. He was a state qualifier out of Oklahoma. He's wrestling 125 for us, which helps a lot because it's hard to find a 25-pounder
Right.
in this game. And so he's one that doesn't have to cut too much weight. He's strong. He loves the sport of wrestling. He loves the Benedictine way. And he's really shown that he's going to be a competitor for us. We also have a 33-pounder by the name of Kyle Smart out of Illinois. He's also a former teammate of our 41-pounder Harsh Anchan out of Illinois. Both went to Matea Valley High School there. And those 2 are back-to-back at 33 and 41, so they kind of get that old high school vibe back again. And I think they're going to feed off that a lot. But they're definitely 2 guys that I look to make a lot of noise this year on the mat and turn a lot of different heads. And then we also have Elijah White, who's a state placer out of Florida. He actually won the starting position at 184 pounds. Real raw talent, very athletic, upbeat guy, loves the sport and just loves to try to figure out how he can get better, and he's always out there ready to compete. To round that off, we also have Richard Jordan out of Georgia, and then we also have Garrett St. Clair, who is also out of Illinois. Those 2 gentlemen one will be 197 and Jordan will be 165 come second semester. He's currently making that weight cut descent to 65 for second semester. But once again, another really talented, knowledgeable wrestler, who's just excited to get out there, compete, and get better.
Well, you've had a number of open tournaments that you've taken the squad to now, and you're now coming off of your second dual win. Just take us back through. You made a trip out to Goodland last night, a long way out there for a duel, but you're able to return with a win. Just take us through last night's duel.
Last night's duel, it's 5.5-hour drive to Goodland, time change with that being said as well. We got the guys out there. We had 2 guys out of the lineup based off of being sick. They saw a school nurse and all that good stuff, but they were sick, and so we actually had 2 holes in our lineup, and we ended up moving some guys up to weight class above to where they were wrestling. I'm a very transparent coach, and so I definitely went up to them before I did so. It's like, hey, are you comfortable with this? They said, yeah, coach, put me in. I'm ready to do it for the team. And so we started off 25-33. We got forfeits there, obviously, but we bumped Smart up to 41, and we bumped Anchan up to 49, and both came out with bonus points, which was amazing. Smart got a pin at 5 minutes and 56 seconds into the match, which, obviously that match is about to end, and he was still able to break that guy down, solidify a fall, and put us on top 18-0, which was awesome. And then it was awesome to see Harsh Anchan finally open up, come out there and just start getting his shots going. It's something he was kind of slow with at the beginning of this season, but I think he found his pace and he found what he likes to go to, and he really opened up last night, which obviously helped him with a 13-4 win, major decision. For me, Elijah White wrestling at 197 for us, which actually locked the duel for us to win. Last night was one of the most amazing, exciting matches ever. For me, he was on the attack. So was that young gentleman that he was wrestling against. You just saw a great exhibit of defense, will, and power through that match. And for our sake, Elijah came out on top, and we were able to win the duel.
We talk about, so you get a late pin, and then you get a major decision. So those are two very exciting, head-to-head competitions. Just speak a little bit about, the major decision. That's a lot of technical wrestling that's going on during the course of that match to be able to accumulate the number of points to get that. Just take us back, was it just the way that the opponent was going that night, or is that something that you've worked on with Harsh this year so far to get him to be a little bit more technical?
Both, to be honest with you. We work extensively one-on-one with our athletes, whether it's going over film or just sitting down and talking with them through their matches as we watch them. But getting Harsh to open up and know that he's able and he's got all the talent and the hard work behind him, that he can get these shots when he fires them off. But once again, we've got an amazing group of guys. These guys train hard. We had a great preseason. They're all in shape. There's no excuse to why we're not in shape if we weren't. But we were able to watch those guys that we wrestled last night fade as the period got deeper into the periods. Those guys start fading. We put the foot on the gas pedal, and we just kept moving forward.
Well, now you turn your focus to the Swedes Open, hosted by Bethany College out in Lindsborg. How many guys do you typically take to an Open? And obviously it's open, so that means you can probably take as many. Do you look to maybe get a couple of guys in each weight class, or how do you approach a situation like that?
Well, to give you an idea, just to let you know from the beginning, we're building up to March. All of this here in November, December is all preparation to get better so that we can be ready for March at the national tournament. And so what we typically do is we'll take about 15 to 20 guys to our Opens. We kind of have a good set of 10 guys or 12 that we kind of know our go-to guys when it comes to duels. But then we might have a couple guys that we want to get some good looks at. We all know sports too well that, some guys go down with injuries or sicknesses and stuff. So we want to make sure that those other guys are getting some quality experience, some quality looks. So if the time does come for them to step up, they're able to get in there.
And then you'll come back in a couple of weeks. You're going to have your first home duel. Our conference is always a tough conference. We have some of the top talent in the NAIA, and that first duel is going to be one of those top programs.
Mm-hmm. And so we will end up our first home duel against top team in the country, and it's nothing that obviously I'm in the conference, so I can't shy away from it, but it's nothing that I'm ever going to shy away from. I tell these guys every single day, man, trust in God, trust in your training, know that God's behind you, and know that you've put in all the right work and done it the right way. And when you step your foot on that mat, you shouldn't be nervous. You should be ready to compete. And I think our guys are firmly believing in that. And they're ready for the challenge.
And obviously you've been around NAIA wrestling before you came to Benedictine, and now you're getting, maybe an even closer look at a program like Grandview. What is it about that program that makes them have the success that they have?
Once again, it's coming to the same thing that we're building over here. That was, I would say, was lacking a little bit, is culture. Building that culture, believing in that institution and that program is not only building you to be a champion on the mat, but to be a champion in life. And so I think I growing up in that area of Iowa, I've seen it a lot. And so it's really about their culture and what they're building there in that program, and what they want their athletes to understand that their mission is. And so that's what we're doing here at BC.
All right. Well, thanks, Coach Cobbs, for coming in. His team will be in action again this next week or this coming weekend as they head out to Lindsborg for the Swedes Open. Good luck.